Are you a guy that's facing divorce? On today's episode of Resilient Man, we're going to discuss specific things you need to focus on. I'll share some tips on everything from child support, child custody, alimony, all those things. We'll go through and I'll share my tips as a guy who's been down that road and can share some interesting stories that you may find helpful as well. If you are a young man and you're watching this today and you've never been married, but you'd like to be married, or you're, in the future, listen up. You need to listen and you need to pay close attention to what I'm about to share with you, because the times that we live in, our society and our culture, is completely female focused, and the courts, especially the family courts, when it comes to divorce, child custody, child support, alimony, they are completely biased against men. And I don't say that as an angry woman-hating man. I say that as a man who's been through it and has been shafted in numerous ways, as a lot of you men watching out there can probably relate to. And if you can, please comment your thoughts and your experiences, especially for the younger guys who are watching this video and need that advice. Because quite frankly, if you are a young man and you're looking at marriage, you really need to question whether you should enter into this legal contract where she can break it at any time for any reason, and you are going to lose. That's a fact. So let's get into this. So for you guys that are facing divorce, let's get back to you, because you're dealing with it now. So look, I've been there, man. It is extremely painful and hard. You feel like your dreams are over and your life is being turned upside down, and it is. But let me share, the positive is you're going to get through it. Life does go on, and you will move on to hopefully thrive if you choose to, and if you work hard to do so. But the fear of facing divorce and being hurt, especially financially, for years to come, is real. It's legitimate. I mean, don't bullshit yourself. My first suggestion is find a good attorney. You must have good counsel. It's expensive as hell, but it's worth the money, because when you go into the courtroom, it's a different world. The language is different. You don't understand it. The rules don't make any sense, and you need a quality attorney who can speak the language, who can navigate it, and best work on your behalf. I would suggest in a divorce situation, you have a female attorney. It's just a female going up against your female, and she understands the emotional side and that type of thing. So that is the first thing. But what you're dealing with fear and such is legitimate, and here's why. With divorce courts, with the so-called family courts, the fact is, you as a man, you're going to lose. You may as well accept it, because the stats show that 90% plus of women are favored by the courts, and that's by design. We live in a female-centric society and culture. The courts, they don't give a damn about you as a man or as a father. You're nothing. You are absolutely nothing, which I'm going to share a couple personal stories here in a moment that will illustrate that. So you need to realize that. And, let's take child custody, for example. Child custody, what it should be in a fair world, and if the courts were not biased and corrupt towards men, it would at least be 50-50. The guy gets the child, half the time and then half the time with the mother. You see that sometimes, but it's rare. I mean, when I meet a guy who he has 50-50 custody with his ex, that tells me, that something had to be wrong with the woman or something, because it's just extremely rare. I know in my case, I got Tuesday nights and every other weekend, and then we got 2 weeks during the summer, not consecutive weeks, and then for the holidays, if I had Thanksgiving and she had Christmas, then the following year it would switch, and she would have Thanksgiving and I would have Christmas, and that was our legal custody arrangement. Now, we personally changed it because, I did some things that were specifically for my kids. But that is what you can expect. You can expect the bare minimum. You can expect you will be, from a child custody standpoint, you'll be on the periphery of your kid's life. And it is sanctioned by the court and supported by the court, because they don't give a shit about you as a father. You're nothing. The mother is all that matters. So, child support. Expect the worst. Quite frankly, expect the worst. The first thing I would suggest is that you know the laws in your state, how it works. In my state specifically, there was a child support calculator, and you plug in the numbers on each, for you and your ex, and that tells you what should be paid based on the number of children you have and your incomes and that type of thing. Now, in my case, when I was married, my ex stayed at home with the children, and we got divorced when our kids were 6 and 2. Okay. So when we went to court to get divorced, I got my ass handed to me financially because she had been a stay-at-home mom. And that was just what we did. That's what I believed in. I believed the mother should stay home with the children, at least until they go off to kindergarten. That's what we did. But because of that, she had no income. I got hammered financially. If that's your case, where you are the primary breadwinner, you may as well prepare yourself that you're going to get hammered. Now, here's the second part of this story. My ex comes from a very wealthy family, old trust fund money, Ivy League schools, trust fund family, the whole thing, if you can imagine that. Okay. Years after we got divorced, I think it was 5 or 6 years after, I took her back to court regarding child support because she had come into her trust fund money. And I'm talking a lot of money. So we go back to court, and we showed in court. Now, keep in mind, in our state, the way child support is determined is a simple Excel spreadsheet. This is your income, this is your income, this is what should be paid. I was already paying an exorbitant amount of child support because I had been the main breadwinner, but now she had come into all this money. I brought her back to court to try and make it fair. So, in court, we proved through documentation that she was a millionaire through her trust fund. We showed she had stroked a check for, I believe it was $418,000, and had paid off the house. And you know, out of that money. We showed multiple things. My attorney, who was a woman, asked her point blank on the witness stand, "Are you a millionaire through your trust fund?" "Yes, I am." Are your average monthly deposits $25,000 to $30,000 based on the records we are showing here in court? Yes, they are. Where does this money come from? It comes from my trust. So there was no doubt whatsoever. We had proved our case that she was a millionaire through her trust fund money. Now, I don't give a shit about her money. I just wanted to make it fair and pay a fair amount in child support. Well, as you may have guessed while I'm sharing this story, the court, who was a female judge, came back and ruled that the trust fund income was quote unquote retirement income. It was not actual income. Now keep in mind, she had no job, and well, she had got her real estate license, which was bullshit. She got her real estate license after I took her back to court to play like she had a job. But she hadn't sold any houses, she hadn't done shit. And so she had no job. She lives in a $600,000 home that she paid off with her trust fund. We showed the bank documents, we showed the trust fund documents, the earnings and such. This female judge rules that the trust fund income is quote unquote retirement income only, and that the female judge would only allow us to count the interest that she earned each month, which came up to, I think it was like $1,700 or $1,800 a month, which was nothing, was absolutely nothing. So that interest times 12 annually, whatever that number is, was nothing compared to my annual income, okay? So not only had I been screwed the first time because she was a stay-at-home mom, now I had been screwed a second time by a corrupt, biased court system. I mean, when the judge passed her ruling, we were all in shock. And my attorney, who was a woman, she turned to me and she said, "I have no idea what the hell just happened here. This is child support. You plug in the numbers and this is what it is. We've proven she's a millionaire." But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. And years later, I think it was about 2 or 3 years later, I was having a conversation with my ex, and she admitted to me, she said, "I never expected the court to rule in my favor. I was shocked that they ruled in my favor after you and your attorney showed my income in court." So that's what we're talking about, guys, when it comes to divorce in a corrupt court system. There are plenty of stories out there like this. You guys watching this, comment your stories, because I know you've been through a similar thing. But I was ordered to pay a millionaire an exorbitant amount of child support. I won't say the amount, but not only was I paid child support, I paid for the health insurance for the kids and some other expenses as well. Let's just say those all combined would make a very nice mortgage payment on a pretty nice house. Let's put it that way. I was ordered to pay that to a millionaire. So that's what we're dealing with in our society. So that's just a child support issue, okay? Then there's alimony. You might be in a situation where you might actually owe your spouse alimony because, again, you need to know the laws in your state, and you need to counsel with a good attorney who can tell you best. I know that in a lot of states, let's say she makes $50,000 a year, you make $100,000 a year. Well, in a lot of states, that difference of $50,000 that that you make more than her. Well, that could mean alimony payments to her. For a lot of times, it's the length of the marriage, and you take the length of the marriage. Let's say it was 10 years. You cut that in half. That's what the court will do. The court will say, all right, you're going to be ordered to pay alimony for half that, which is 5 years, and this is what your alimony payment is going to be based on that $50,000 delta. Now, here's the thing. Again, going back to how corrupt and how biased the courts are, is the fact that she may have cheated on you doesn't matter in most states because of no-fault divorce. The fact that she left, she packed her shit, and she walked out on you, she abandoned the marriage, she abandoned the house, doesn't matter. You still may be on the hook for alimony. Again, you need to counsel with a quality attorney. I can tell you in my situation, that was a concern at first, but I ended up not having to pay alimony, so that was good. So those are some serious things that you need to focus on and think about. The other thing, which may be a new man in your ex-wife's life and around your children. I mean, this is, to me, fortunately, I've never had to deal with this. My ex has stayed single, but that can be excruciating to see another man, especially if she's supporting the other man, which essentially your child support and or your alimony is going to subsidize this scumbag's life. So I hope that's not the case, but that's something to think. And then there's the constantly fighting to be in your children's lives, and the fact she's probably alienating them. I've done a video on parental alienation. It's absolutely terrible, and it's evil. That may be something that you may have to contend with as well. So guys, if you are facing divorce, man, I wish you the very best. I know the experience is going to be rough. It's certainly not fun, but you will get through it. These specific things that I talked about today, look, it's not to piss you off and it's not to pour salt on the wound or anything, but this is real. This is real in our society. And again, to you younger men who are watching this, who are not married and think, well, maybe I will someday, this is real. Until the laws are changed and the courts are changed, marriage is, you'd be crazy to enter into this contract that can seriously, severely damage you financially, not to mention emotionally. So, guys, I hope this helps. Guys, comment, down below your thoughts, your advice, especially if you've been through similar situations like the one I shared with you, with my experience. Like and subscribe to Resilient Man channel. Thank you for watching the content. Guys, know your worth. Protect your peace.